What's going on, Bottom Line viewers? It's Mitch here of the Bottom Line View and of Hot Take Hockey. And for Hot Take Hockey, we are here to discuss game number one. Flyers Penguins, man. 7-0. 7-0. The Pittsburgh Penguins win game number one. They go at home in front of their fans. Believe. Well, it's actually a 3 at the start. I don't know how you actually say it. Is it 3 leave? So it's 3 leave. The Pittsburgh Penguins are trying to go for their three-peat, and they come out hot. And instantly with the Penguins, you can tell that when they're going to have a good game, you can immediately tell right off the start. You can tell by how fast they're moving, how their legs are moving, because the Penguins, when they play at their best, they play with speed. They play with skill. And immediately in the first period, they go up, bam, 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 3-0 in the first period. They get 2 in the second, 2 in the third. Ends up being 7-0 with Sidney Crosby getting a playoff hat trick here in this opener. A lot of people were expecting an intense series, a lot of close, high-scoring games. In this one, the Penguins completely blow it up. I'm going to talk about the good performances, the bad performances, what Philadelphia needs to do in game 2 in order to get back into it, and then also what went well for Pittsburgh in order to take a 1-0 series win. If you guys are here live, let me know what's going on. Aaron says my Pittsburgh's killing it. Kevin says Penguins destroyed it. This was awesome. John says this is madness, Mitch. So Pittsburgh, this was crazy right off the bat. The Hot Take Hockey chat was going absolutely wild. So basically, let's talk about the game. So first off, Brian Rust gets a goal that came off a Chris Letang quick shot off the pad. Brian Rust absolutely rips a snipe past the goaltender. Nice goal there from Brian Rust, setting the tone. This was only a couple minutes into the game, 2 minutes actually to be exact, 2 minutes 38 seconds into the game to be exact. That was a nice goal just right off the bat, and the crowd was into it. The crowd was on fire. And usually when teams are like a repeat champion or teams are doing really well, it almost seems like fans in the arena kind of don't get as excited for like these games, and they almost expect their team to win. But that wasn't the case for Pittsburgh's fans. Tonight, they were on fire and definitely set the tone for the game. And Carl Hagelin comes out with the second goal of the game from Patrick Hornqvist, a nice tip over the goaltender, Elliott, who started most of the game and then ended up getting pulled. Then we had Evgeny Malkin, who is just absolute one-man show, goes through like 2-3 guys from one end to the other, puts it backhand over, I believe it was the blocker of Elliott, and goes into the net. So 3-0. Then in the second period, we have a Jake Gensel power play goal with a sweet pass from Derek Brassard on the power play. Brassard, nice little touch pass there. And it's also really nice to see a guy like Jake Gensel and Derek Brassard to have that on your second power play is absolutely awesome in the playoffs, because when you have those type of playmakers on your second power play, when you have stacked your first power play, that's pretty efficient to go to in the playoffs, especially. So then you have Crosby, who gets on the goal for the first time in the game. He scores the next 3 goals. The one to note was I think it was his first one, which he tipped out of the air, which was, again, absolutely ridiculous. His last goal, 3 nice goals, but overall that first one was just a thing of beauty, and Crosby really shows out. I think overall the story of tonight was Pittsburgh's offense, Pittsburgh's ability to score. Their real experience, I think, came into play in game number 1, and they just took it to the Flyers. They went from one level in the regular season to the next level in the playoffs, and you could clearly see that there was a shift from their play. And that's the big thing to watch in the playoffs. Do teams shift gears? Sometimes you see teams play really well in the regular season and they're not able to shift that gear. Pittsburgh definitely in this game was able to shift that gear. And if you're a Pittsburgh fan, you're really, really happy with this result. Not only that they won, the way they played offensively, defensively, the way their defense played, the way that Matt Murray looked comfortable in net, making a huge save in the first period. That really was a huge part of the game, because if Philadelphia scores there, then maybe they're into the game. Maybe they get a little bit of momentum. But no, every time Flyers had a momentum, any source of momentum, Murray shut the door. So Murray was great. Defense was great. Offense was great. Power play was pretty good overall. They had a couple opportunities. They did score once in the game. And just the amount of possession that they had allowed them to get all those power plays. Philadelphia, though, like you see minuses, -4 for Gostisbehere, -4 for Giroux, -4 for Couturier. So some of their best players, like not good games in this one. When you look at Philadelphia, I don't really know any of the bright spots you could look at. No one was really that good. Honestly, like you look at their team, Konecny, you could say maybe made a couple of physical plays that he's kind of known for, but he also took a penalty in the game. Filppula was decent on the penalty kill, I thought. Couturier was okay, but nothing good. He definitely didn't play well enough against Crosby. Gudas had 9 hits, if you want to give him that. Simmons was pretty much invisible until after the whistle blowed. Gostisbehere was fine. He had 5 shots on goal, but like nobody really stood out, guys. Giroux, the guy that I said that could be the Hart winner this year, was pretty much invisible. I mean, Crosby and Malkin were up here. Then there were a couple other Pittsburgh players like Hagelin, Hornquist, and Gensel in the middle tier, and then there were the Flyers, and Letang was up there as well. Letang was really good. So getting to Pittsburgh, talking about the guys that I thought were really good. Of course, Crosby, +5, 3 goals, 4 shots, 1 hit, good in the faceoff dot. Where that was one of the only weaknesses to Pittsburgh's game in this one was their faceoffs. But overall, Crosby, first star. Second star, I think, is Jake Gensel. He had 4 points, but overall, he was all over the net. 4 shots on goal, +4. He just had a lot of opportunities. He finished when he had the opportunity. He was fast. He was good on defense on the back check, coming back in a couple of times on 2-on-1s and coming back and checking the Flyers. So Gensel, I thought, was really good offensively and defensively, and he's really matured on the defensive side of the ice. I wouldn't actually be surprised if we saw him a little bit more on the penalty kill. Carl Hagelin was fast. He was just going like he was all over the ice, everywhere, hitting guys, getting the puck, making nice passes, setting up that transition game for Pittsburgh to get going with Malkin. And Malkin, nothing really else has to be said. He almost had a second goal that would have been the most ridiculous goal I've probably seen all season. He went around like 2 dudes, and then he went down around the 3rd guy, and then he hit the post. That would have been a nuts goal, but he only ends up getting 1, but still Malkin turning on that extra level in the playoffs like he always does. Brian Rust with the opening goal. I thought Chris Letang was very solid, both offensively and defensively. He did have 4 penalty minutes in this game, but he really, again, another guy that you could tell took his level of play from here to there. And with Letang, it's a matter of he's going to play even more minutes in the playoffs. He's relied on that much more. And you saw immediately in the first period how he was jumping up in the play, getting opportunities. And that's when Letang is at his best. When his offense is going, his defense starts to go, and he gets aggressive, and he's all over the puck and all over the ice. So those were the stars of the game for Pittsburgh. Philadelphia didn't have a lot, but I'm going to get to some of the comments here. So Rusty Bucket says Crosby's hat trick was crazy. Aaron says Philadelphia not ready for Pittsburgh. That's definitely what it seemed like, Aaron. It just seemed like Pittsburgh was all over him. They knew what it took to win a playoff game, and it just seemed like Philadelphia wasn't turning it on in any form, any fashion. Vanilla Ice Cream says, sexy Evgeny, you're gonna crush the Lightning in the finals. I hope. What else? Josh Joris says, did I play? No, you didn't. Bodo says, I'm watching Wild and Jets still. It's a crazy game. Austin will be recapping that game, so make sure you guys are here for that game. Yeah, you turned off the Penguins game quickly. I had to stay around and recap it, but to look at game number 2, Pittsburgh, they pretty much have to do nothing except for stay where they are, do what they're doing. Just start fast, I think, is the number one thing. At home, they've been amazing this year. And again, like you did in game 1, start fast in game number 2 and keep going at it and keep going after them and get a lot of shots early on to test whoever is playing in net. I think that's a big thing as well. And if the big guns continue to play as well as they are, then you're going to play. Even Phil Kessel wasn't really a huge factor in this game. He didn't do a ton. But Crosby, Malkin, and Letang, if these 3 guys are playing like they did tonight, they're going to be very difficult to beat. I don't care what team they're playing. And then you have Philadelphia, who I think needs to do pretty much everything better. I think a faster start would be nice. I think getting a little bit more physical would be ideal. I know you don't want to take penalties, but I think just going after it, if that means hitting, a guy after he's passed the puck a little bit more, or just getting, I think the transition definitely hurt them a little bit. They weren't able to get that part of their game going. I just didn't see the effort level from Philadelphia as I saw in Pittsburgh. That was the main thing. I think Pittsburgh just totally outclassed them in every fashion of the game. There's not really one area where I can pinpoint Philadelphia. I think they just need to scrap this one and go back to the drawing board and just say, hey, that was game one. We have game number two. We need to come out and play our game. And execute when you have those chances in front of the net. That one shot could have changed the entire facet of the game, but Murray made that amazing save. So Philadelphia, I think just going back to the drawing board, forgetting about this one and moving on to game number two is going to be their best strategy, because everything needs to be better pretty much. Maybe they make a couple of changes in terms of matchups, who they want to match up on what line, because obviously the Couturier thing against Crosby didn't really work out. So maybe they try a different line matching, or maybe they move Giroux to center instead. I don't really know what they're going to decide to do, but that isn't a thing. A lineup change isn't the sort of thing that you do until probably like game 3. If you're down 2-0, then maybe you start changing stuff. But I think game number 1, it was game number 1. You have game number 2, just reset and go at it. So that's my thoughts on Pittsburgh versus Philadelphia. Recap of the game. Hope you guys enjoyed this recap. Fleeber says, can we beat you? Is there any way? I'm a Flyers fan. Bro, I don't know. It's going to be tough. The way that Pittsburgh's playing right now, the way that they're playing, man, it's going to be very difficult. Stay out the box, play better defense. I think you're going to need your goalie to steal 1 or 2 games in order to beat the Penguins. I think I have to put that out there for you. But the way that Pittsburgh's, even their fourth line was playing, nobody expected that. I mean, they were on fire. So Pittsburgh's going to be tough to beat if they play like this for the rest of the playoffs. Obviously, this was one of their better games of recent memory, I think. So it's not going to be like this every night. But if they can get something close, then they're going to be tough to beat. So Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, 7-0. Pittsburgh takes it. Crosby, hat trick. I hope you guys enjoyed this recap. If you did, hit the like button. Support Hot Take Hockey. Subscribe if you're new. And we'll see you next time. Tune in to the Winnipeg Jets recap with Austin, and also the recap tonight of the Vegas Golden Knights versus the LA Kings. Trent will be on that one. Peace out, guys. Hope you enjoyed this